Yo, this is your boy, Busted Open Brain, anal sax lover, back with another video. Just got back from the gym. There's a gym downstairs, that elliptical. 5 minutes pure sprinting, 10 minutes of on and off sprinting. So about 10 minutes of sprinting, 5 minutes of jogging. Trying to get it into like a system where I know exactly what to do without thinking about it. Now I just gotta figure out what to do with working out, with getting the pump in. I feel like the more brain I put toward it, the better, bro. Bro, I can get systemized. I know I can do it, but I just want to think back to the times where I believe I was making a difference, bro. I believe I do. Maybe it doesn't feel like I am. Maybe it just feels like I'm just talking about my life randomly, but I still have belief that I'm making a difference, bro. That I'm inspiring people to make more videos and inspiring people to kind of live Christ-like. What do I mean by that, bro? Well, religion can be a really touchy topic because, talk to my mom about religion. Some people are Hindu. She had a friend that was Hindu. And she mentioned that those beliefs could conflict with one another. Because, and of course, my dad, he has different beliefs too. And I'm kind of just this middleman who's I go to Mormon church, I try to stay off of drugs, I try to, give to other people, and at the same time, I look at antinatalism, I believe that all is one consciousness, So I'm kind of stuck in the middle, which is okay for me. It's I'm still figuring it out, I remember those times when I was in Huntersville, missionaries knocked on my door. I will never forget that, man. Missionaries knocking on my door, hey, do you have a relationship with God? Not that question. I don't know what they said, but they just invited me to come to church, I feel like Mormons are heavily looked down upon. I'm just I want to remove that BS from, people's mind of, one religion is, there's only one way to God, one way to whatever. And it's important to have different people say different things. So what am I getting at here? Well, what I'm getting at is you shouldn't be so wrapped up in one idea, in one concept. I believe in being a free thinker. You should be a free thinker, man. Because you gotta know the difference. You gotta have discernment to know who God is. Is God my drug? Is God my phone? Is God these attachments I have? Attachment to the past. Maybe it's your parents. That's your God. I went to church with my mom. They practice kind of original sin. And the preacher talked about addressing the root, which was an interesting thing to say. It's okay, well, you may be going to church or maybe doing all the right things, but what's at the root? Just to summarize it, he mentioned, maybe it's pornography. Maybe it's, he mentioned the devil. He mentioned a devil. And I'm a free thinker, so, I like to say, hey, I did something wrong today, it was the devil. It wasn't my fault, it was the devil's fault. But does that type of thinking give you agency to act differently? You gotta think about that too. Does that type of belief system give you the agency to change or not? Or do you think that there is no sin? Do you think that God doesn't exist? So which one gives you more freedom in your life? What belief system honors you the most? You know, I always went to the Mormon church for peace of mind and to kind of personally develop myself and to make friends. It's all about making friends, when you go to church. I always miss that. Because, and I just feel like time is passing me by really quickly. So I gotta make it, I gotta do everything I can to kind of get myself involved around, other people, But yeah, food for thought is, the God that you serve, is he really making a difference in your life? Or are you just going just to go? So I really thought that was a decent message. Is the God you serve serving you? Or do you feel like you're broken? Do you feel like there's a lot of guilt behind serving your God? Just, I'll leave you with that, man. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Alright, y'all. Well, as always, this is your boy, Anal Sax Busted Open Brain, signing off. Peace and namaste, y'all.